Okay, everyone, we are here. It's Mike, Hardbody Hopper, Doc Turner. We are going to do a patron-only episode tonight. We are recording this on June the 23rd, 2017, and we had to do this. We briefly talked about Buddy Landell. I'm not sure when this is going to drop, but you've heard us talk about Buddy a few times on the flagship show that we do on Thursdays. And we always talk about how great Buddy was, and we always reference the Buddy Landell episode when he was on Colt Cabana over 2 years ago. So Doc and I were talking, and I had recently listened to it again and was like, man, we got to talk about Buddy. We got to do a patron episode. So this kind of came together today, and it's Harper, Doc, and myself. Doc, how you doing tonight, man?
You know, you got us up late doing this shit. Which
Yeah.
means
Bro,
that there's a good...
it's fucking 9 o'clock on a Friday night. And you know what
So
I'm supposed to be doing right now?
Banging bitches?
Fucking and drinking. Because I can tell you in about 5 minutes, I'm going to get a text message. Where you at?
Well, if Harper's got to disappear in the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes, we understand why. Go bang your broads, because as you're about to hear, Buddy Landell did his share of busting baby doll's guts out.
That's
Come
nice.
I'm just using his own words, bro.
Well, I'm usually against this patron nonsense and bullshit and extra favors for these people. But I got to tell you, we're not going to talk about the time you stubbed your toe getting new furniture down at the Rent-A-Center or whatever it is you did. This one's actually worthwhile to talk about. This is a good one. I re-listened to it today. I was popping all over the place. This shit's fun.
All right, and for the record, Harper, you have not heard any of the sound bites that we're about to play, right?
Nope.
No, okay. And
So let me
Doc,
let me
I have,
preface
though.
this. Let me preface this real quick. Whatever we're about to say is not meant to besmirch the dead. We all like Buddy. We all respect Buddy. We all wish Buddy were here. We all agree. And I think Buddy, if he were here, would be the first to agree that he had world-class talent and they flushed it all away. And in fact, I hope you have that pulled up because he talks about that.
Yes.
So we're going to have fun with this and we're going to joke about it and we're going to laugh about it because the shit's funny. And I think Buddy would appreciate that.
Oh yeah, this is done, and it's a tribute to Buddy more than anything. I mean, the fact that we talk about this so much is a tribute to Buddy and how great Buddy was. So I need to say this before we get into this.
Let me say one
Go
more
ahead.
thing. I said this before. I listen to a lot of podcasts. You know that.
You listen to way too many wrestling podcasts. God damn.
I listen to a bunch. I call it market research.
It's ridiculous. I can't. Let me tell you, I'm just going to put this out there. You and the constant telling me about all these ones you listen to, and I can't take it. It's too much. It's fucking overkill. Go ahead.
So I've listened to a bunch of wrestling podcasts for about 4 years now.
Too long.
This might be the best single episode of any wrestling podcast I've listened to over the past 4 years. I don't know. Robert Fuller is up there too, and there's some CM Punk in there and some other things that, have happened here and there. But yeah, this one is on the Mount Rushmore of podcast episodes, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I like it just because it's Buddy. And here's the thing. Before we get into it, I need to credit Colt Cabana before we start the excerpts of audio from this great episode he did with Buddy a few months before Buddy's untimely passing in 2015, which is sad. I mean, because Buddy talks about at the very end how he was healthy and doing well. And the only way to actually access the full episode of this, again, because I only have excerpts of it, the only way to access full episodes of this is from how.fm/Colt or Colt Cabana's YouTube channel. So just to let it out there, if you're just on Colt's, you got it like on iTunes and you try to go download this, it won't let you do it. It's all of his like old episodes are archived and you have to pay for them. So I'm just putting that out there, either YouTube or how.fm/Colt. Again, credit Colt Cabana because this was from his show and this gold came from this. Now, as I'm getting into it, I need to say something.
And let me say this: we're gonna play some selected cuts and riff on it. Do yourself a favor and go back and listen to the whole thing because it's all worth it.
Yes, and I want to say this too. So I'm gonna set the stage, Harper.
Yeah.
I was at work I distinctly remember it was a Friday afternoon. Because Colt shows drop on like a Thursday, or they did back then. And So I see Buddy is on Colt, and I download it in the morning. I finally get around to doing it after lunchtime because I was batshit busy at work all day, and I hit the play button, and I immediately message Doc, bruh, Colt has Buddy Landell on, and it's a fucking train wreck, was my exact comments to Doc. I said, I can't tell if I'm listening to Tommy Rich or Buddy Landell, because Tommy Rich had that country voice like Buddy did back in the day, and Tommy and I ran into Tommy Rich. I've told the story a few times on the flagship show, a bunch of times about running into Tommy Rich and his country ass too. And Doc says, are we sure they're not the same person as I'm listening to this? So they're not. So I had to set the stage. This is how I first started listening to this episode, and immediately messaged Doc. With that said, Doc, let's get into this. However, let's get into this. So, like I said, we're going to play a couple of sound bites. Now, this first one is a sound bite of when it starts to get into Buddy, his problems in the NWA and WCW, and just something about Baby Doll. So, I'm going to play the first sound bite, and then we'll react. So, here it is.
Foundation here to get to a
I'm okay. I mean, because there was kind of a downfall, wasn't there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, you're right. I mean, I guess I don't know how we get into it, but it's always, for me, I remember being weirded out because there was two Nature Boys on my television. I don't know what the fuck was going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd love to hear about that.
Neither did we either. Nobody smartened us up either. But I just, as a matter of fact, well, see, here's the thing, Colt. I'd been telling the same story for 30 years, okay? That what happened is that the night before, it wasn't they were going to drop the belt on me the next day on TV. I've never said that. What I said was that they were shooting the angle the next morning to put JJ with Tully and Baby Doll with me. You know, because Baby Doll and I, let me put this gently, for whoever's listening, and God forgive me, but a lot of my heat came from Baby Doll and my special relationship. You see where I'm going with this? Which caused a tremendous amount of heat, not only from the boys. Dusty Rhodes loved it. But it seemed like at that time there wasn't a lot of girls around. Everybody wanted her, and to the victor goes the spoils. You understand what I'm saying?
Captain of the football team over here.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And, it was like having a queer for a kid. Everybody knows it, but nobody fucking talks about it. You know, it's one of those deals.
Interesting.
And hoping it's okay to cuss. I don't usually cuss a lot anymore. But I figure, what the hell, I'm diving in with both feet, man.
Fuck it.
Fuck them and feed them fish heads and navy beans.
Hold on, here it comes.
So anyway, I'm busting, Baby Doll's guts out, and everybody hated it, Tully especially, because they were roommates. And at every turn and opportunity that him and Flair got to bury me, they buried me. I'm talking about now. Now, I'm one of these guys that can't just fuck something up.
Okay. I've stopped.
And you did it. Now you got to hit. You got to pick right back up where you left off.
I am.
That's great.
I am.
What are you about to say is awesome, but there's a lot there.
Well, Hartford popped, so.
It's like having a queer for a kid, Everyone knows, but no one says anything.
Basically. So, I don't know if y'all caught this, though. I took some distinct notes. Buddy says, let me put this gently. I got a lot of heat because, I got a lot of heat because of me and Baby Doll's special relationship. Now, he first says, let me put this gently. Not even 30 seconds later, he went from, let me put this gently, to, I'm busting Baby Doll's guts out. What the fuck? Buddy. Oh, buddy, we love you, buddy. But, again, we get confirmation on a serious note that, before what we're about to listen to in a second, which is the goal, almost the meat of it, Buddy was about to Baby Doll was about to pair off with Buddy, and they would have been a team, and Buddy was about to go do something special, according to him. That said, Doc, you want to pick up where we had just left off?
Yeah.
Or do you have anything else?
No, that's the second
going.
time I've listened to it today, probably the fifth or sixth time I've listened to it ever, and I was laughing as hard this time as the other times.
All right, so here's a part where he talks about fucking shit up, and this is the first part when he talks about fucking shit up, so here it is.
Bury me, they buried me. I'm talking about now. Now, I'm one of these guys that can't just fuck something up. I gotta fuck it all the way up. Yeah. I'm talking about, crossing the Rubicon, man. Have you ever heard that saying? When Julius Caesar was going in to conquer Rome for the first time, there's a river there called the Rubicon, okay? And Caesar could see on the other side of the river, Rome, and there was the Rubicon River between them. And Julius Caesar said, once we cross the Rubicon, there's no turning back. So it's just a famous quote from history. Okay. So, brother, I'd cross the Rubicon.
So, hold on. So, I guess give me an example of, you don't want to fuck it up, you want to fuck it up unbelievably.
Yeah, when I fuck something up.
Okay, Doc, I had to stop it because he's about to get into. You wanted to play the Rubicon thing, so that's why I wanted to go there.
We all have a friend that's Buddy, and it may not be a Hall of Fame Buddy, but you all have one of your buddies that's him. Just all of a sudden, you close your eyes, and the picture of their little face fucking something up just came up. Second of all, I love hearing historical philosophy from Buddy Landell. I wonder if that's what Mark Twain's voice sounded like.
When he started talking about Caesar, I was like, what the fuck, buddy?
And you can tell right then, Colt's never heard of any of this. He doesn't know what the Rubicon is, and he's like, how do I get this shit back on to
yes,
Jim Crockett Promotions?
I respect Colt as a podcaster, but he when he talks to I think I heard Brian Last say this. When Colt talks to people from the era that we loved, he's not real knowledgeable about what went on and whatnot, and you can kind of tell if you listen to some of those old interviews. It's not his fault. He's just not a historian.
Well, and I think the other thing is, he's respectful, but he's also knows that he's in there with a real carny, and he's not real sure when he's getting worked.
It's true too. So speaking of,
because right now you can already tell in just the two clips we played, Buddy is a grade A Hall of Fame worker. He's just a bullshitter. Because right now you're hearing funny stories, you're popping at what he's saying, but he's also got that Southern rhythm going where he's up and down, and you're flowing along with it. You can follow along. He's
doing
on
Ron
a
Wright
roll
preacher
now.
thing. He's really about to start preaching. So let me play the next segment. This is kind of funny because of what he says about Flair here. So here we go.
So, I guess give me an example of you don't want to fuck it up, you want to fuck it up unbelievably.
Yeah, when I fuck something up, brother, I tear it all the hell the way up. There ain't it's Rubik's Cube.
What's the main one, I guess? I don't know.
Well, what's the main one?
Why do you say that about yourself?
I don't say it was a chip on my shoulder. I don't know what it was. It was just what I was perceiving in my eyes. I've been outside of Crockett's office door and heard Flair inside crying, please don't take the belt off of me. Okay? And there was a thing with Dusty and Flair where Dusty wanted to take it off Flair, put it on him, to put it back on Flair. Well, my opinion, the last true NWA heavyweight champion was Harley Race. Harley Race wrote in his book he despised putting the belt on Flair. Why was that? My thing is the NWA maybe would have survived a few more years if they would have put it on DiBiase or Paul Orndorff. It's been great champions. Both guys could work and talk. They had the combination.
But there was...
Okay. I stopped it there only because of his comment about Rick crying to Crockett.
That's got to be bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know how you really verify that. You'd have to have
Yeah.
Flair, you know, Flair would have to own up to it. That's the only way at this point. But that's what Buddy claimed. He did say something crazy, though, there that I'm not really in 100% support of. He feels like, first off, I do think DiBiase or even Paul Orndorff probably would have been good NWA champions, especially DiBiase, especially Ted. But I don't think it would have mattered. The NWA was still going down. I mean, that was just the landscape. You know what I'm saying, Doc?
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to have either one of those two guys with a run. But you and I have talked about this. Flair was there as much for anything because he was dependable. He could drink all night, go all night, but he'd be there the next day.
Yeah, but I mean, Harper, I'll ask you. Even if one of them dudes is the NWA champ, I mean, the NWA still eventually is going to go under.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time.
Yeah, no matter who would have been in that role.
Right.
I mean,
it didn't matter who. I mean, WWE was just, they were like termites, tearing up a fucking house.
And then you had cable, so the territories were dying and you weren't, I mean.
Yeah.
The more interesting thing is, and it still wouldn't have saved it, but if you're going to play this thing out, let's play it out, is if Magnum hadn't wrecked his car and Buddy hadn't snorted everything, and you had two young guys that could get it on and pick up the torch from Flair and Dusty.
Well,
now you're getting into something there.
Speaking of Buddy putting down the powder, this next clip is a long one, but it's the meat of the sandwich. So here it is.
Hey, hold on. You know how on the flagship show I always bring up Black Bart and 8 Balls? Well,
here it is.
Here's where it comes from.
Pay attention to this closely. Now, Harper, to kind of set the time frame of where this comes from. This was from maybe 2 months ago when Buddy got the national title at Starrcade. Remember that? From Terry Taylor, and then Buddy was with JJ through December, and then he disappears after December. Remember that?
Right.
So what this story he's about to tell is, I'm assuming, happened at the beginning of January of 1986 or late 85. He doesn't say a date, but that's around the time. So here it is.